Commander Elena Morales had spent 12 years serving in the United States Navy. She had endured deployments in the Middle East, dangerous missions at sea, and the constant demands of leadership. Through it all, she carried herself with unshakable discipline and quiet strength. But after a grueling deployment that left her physically and emotionally drained, her doctor insisted she take leave to recover. For the first time in years, Elena gave herself permission to rest. That was how she found herself booking an appointment at Serenity Springs, the most exclusive spa in the city. The spa was a temple of luxury, marble floors gleaming under crystal chandeliers, scented candles filling the air with lavender and rose. Elena, in uniform just hours earlier, now wore a simple summer dress as she stepped into the serene atmosphere. For once, she allowed herself to feel like a woman instead of just an officer. The staff smiled warmly, the receptionist assuring her, "Commander Morales, you're in for a world-class experience." Elena was led to a private treatment room where a technician promised a revolutionary rejuvenation peel, imported from Europe, guaranteed to refresh her skin. Trusting their word, Elena closed her eyes. At first, it was relaxing. The gentle hands, the soft music. But within minutes, something felt wrong. Her skin began to tingle, then burn. She gasped. "It feels hot," she said. The technician brushed it off. "Completely normal, Commander. It means it's working." But the burning intensified, spreading across her face like wildfire. Elena tried to sit up, panic rising, but the technician pressed her back down, insisting, "Don't worry, this is standard." The pain became unbearable. Elena screamed. By the time they rinsed her face with cold water, the damage was done. Her skin was blistered, red, and raw. She saw her reflection in the mirror and froze. Her once smooth skin was scarred, her face barely recognizable. The spa scrambled, offering excuses and frantic apologies. They assured her it would heal, that it was just temporary irritation. But Elena knew better. Days turned into weeks, the scars deepening instead of fading. Makeup couldn't hide the damage. The confident woman who once commanded sailors now avoided her own reflection. When she confronted the spa owner, Claudia Reed, the woman dismissed her. "These things happen. You signed the waiver. Legally, we're not responsible." Elena's heart sank. They didn't see her pain. They only saw her as a liability to silence. But Elena Morales was not a woman who bowed to intimidation. She reached out to a lawyer, David Mercer, a sharp but principled attorney known for taking on impossible cases. When he first saw her scars, his jaw tightened with anger. "They did this to you, and then brushed it off?" Elena nodded. "I gave my country 12 years. I faced combat, storms, and loss. But this broke me, and they think they can just walk away." David leaned forward. "Then we won't let them." The lawsuit was filed. Commander Elena Morales versus Serenity Springs Spa and Claudia Reed. The media caught wind immediately. Headlines splashed her story across every outlet. Navy officer scarred by spa treatment files $10 million suit. Public opinion exploded. Some sympathized with Elena, praising her courage. Others doubted her, suggesting she exaggerated for money. Claudia Reed, furious at the damage to her spa's image, hired a high-powered legal team. She appeared on television, her diamond earrings sparkling, dismissing Elena as an opportunist exploiting a minor reaction for profit. Elena watched those interviews with clenched fists. Opportunist. She had given her youth, her health, her loyalty to serve her nation. And now she was being painted as a liar. The trial date was set. The courtroom was packed the first day, journalists cramming into the gallery. Elena walked in wearing a navy blue suit, her posture straight though her hands trembled slightly. David whispered, "Remember, you've faced worse than this." Claudia sat across the room, perfectly styled, smirking as if she had already won. Opening statements set the tone. Claudia's attorney painted Elena as a woman seeking attention and money, suggesting her injuries were the result of sensitive skin and poor aftercare. But David stood tall when it was his turn. "My client is Commander Elena Morales. She has faced fire on the battlefield, but she never expected betrayal in a place of supposed safety. This spa didn't just make a mistake. They knowingly used dangerous, unapproved products and dismissed her cries for help. That isn't an accident. That is negligence. And today, we will prove it." Witness after witness was called. Former spa employees testified that Claudia often imported cheaper, unregulated products to save money, then labeled them as exclusive European treatments. One technician broke down on the stand, admitting, "We told her the chemical was too harsh, but she said, 'Clients won't know the difference.'" The jury gasped. Claudia's face remained stone, though her eyes flickered with unease. Elena herself took the stand, her voice trembling at first. She described the pain, the humiliation, the months of depression where she couldn't look at herself in the mirror. But she also spoke of resilience. "The Navy taught me never to retreat in the face of adversity. I will not retreat now." The jury leaned in, captivated. Claudia, desperate, finally testified in her own defense. She denied everything, accusing her former staff of lying out of bitterness. But under David's cross-examination, her arrogance cracked. He presented import records showing shipments of banned chemicals under fake labels. Claudia faltered, stammering, her carefully constructed image unraveling. The climax came when a whistleblower provided emails where Claudia explicitly wrote, "No one cares about the risks. Clients pay for luxury, not safety. Keep costs down." The courtroom fell into stunned silence. By the time closing arguments ended, the case was all but decided. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours before returning with a unanimous verdict: liable. The court awarded Elena $12.5 million in damages. Claudia exploded in fury, shouting at the judge, threatening appeals, even cursing Elena across the courtroom. Bailiffs restrained her, dragging her out as cameras flashed. But Elena did not smile. She simply closed her eyes, breathing deeply. It wasn't about the money. It was about dignity. Claudia's troubles didn't end there. Federal investigators launched a probe into her business practices. Within months, her empire collapsed, her assets seized, her name ruined. As the walls closed in, she grew desperate, even plotting to intimidate Elena. But the FBI caught her attempt to hire someone to tamper with evidence. That sealed her fate. She was arrested again, this time on federal charges of fraud, smuggling, and conspiracy. At her criminal trial, Claudia appeared broken. Gone were the diamonds and designer suits. She now wore prison orange. When the guilty verdict was read, she slumped, sentenced to 25 years in prison. Elena, watching from the gallery, felt a wave of release wash over her. Claudia Reed would never hurt anyone again. With the settlement money, Elena founded the Phoenix Fund, a nonprofit supporting injured servicewomen and survivors of cosmetic negligence. At its launch, she stood tall, her scars visible but no longer shameful. "Pain tried to define me," she said, her voice echoing. "But instead of letting it break me, I chose to turn it into purpose. The Phoenix Fund isn't about me. It's about all of us who've been scarred, overlooked, or silenced. Today, we rise together." The applause was thunderous. For the first time in years, Elena felt whole again. Months later, she walked along the beach at sunset, the waves crashing gently. David joined her, smiling. "So, Commander, what's next?" Elena touched her scar lightly, the wind brushing her face. What's next? Living. Finally living. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Elena Morales knew her story wasn't one of tragedy. It was one of survival, justice, and rebirth. The spa had taken her skin, but it had given her something greater, a purpose that would outlast scars and time itself.